All right, my favorite time of the week is here. I'm joined by the political insiders for CBS 21, Democratic strategist Mark Singal, Republican strategist Charlie Giroux. I'm going to start with what we just looked at before the break. So many candidates are now putting their hats in the ring. We know that there's some issues with President Trump right now with this indictment. Do you think that a number of people came in thinking that he's going to have some legal trouble down the road, so there's more chances for us to win? Charlie, I'll start with you. The number of candidates, does it say anything of what they think might happen with the former president?
I think what it mostly says is that they believe that Joe Biden is eminently beatable for so many reasons, because the country's economy has been run into the ground, because the southern border isn't secure, because our foreign policy is a disaster. As Robert Gates once said, everything Joe Biden touches is. So I think you've got a lot of Republican candidates, more to come, and they all believe that they can win in 2024.
I think it's winnable, but is it winnable on both parts of this? Maybe in the general, but also more so than we thought in the Republican primary. Mark?
Well, I think people are climbing on your bus on the Republican side because they don't believe that Trump can win in the general. And I think you've got people like Chris Christie and Mike Pence who are saying, hey, we got to jettison this guy, with all of his legal complications and so on, with all of the history and all of the chaos that he has sown over the years. He's not going to win the general election. So they are struggling to come up with somebody that would be more acceptable to the mainstream and a general election candidate. That's why you're seeing so many people climb on your bus.
I appreciate you staying with the theme there. Thanks, Mark. Hey, we're going to get back to the Trump situation a bit, but I want to talk more about what we heard some of our guests talk about, the budget, going above and beyond what the governor wanted. Is that a wish list like it was talked about from Senator Laughlin, or is this legitimately, hey, we have more money than we thought? Representative Harris says we should use it. Mark?
Well, it wasn't a sneak attack. I mean, we're in the middle of June, so about this time, one of the houses, and typically the House of Representatives, will put forth its version of the budget. But it's pretty much dead on arrival in the Senate because it does spend more than the governor. So they're going to negotiate it just as Senator McLaughlin, the senator, said. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. You have to get the process started, and that's what this is.
Charlie?
I'm always a little concerned when I hear that the philosophy behind this comes from Jay-Z or Sean Carter. But this is a no-brainer. I mean, this is not going anywhere. It spends more than even Josh Shapiro's asking for, and it outruns revenue, which makes it unconstitutional since we have a balanced budget amendment. But it proves, once again, that the Democrats in Pennsylvania have never met a dollar they didn't want to spend and never met a taxpayer they didn't want to squeeze. This is simply unaffordable.
All right, guys, as we are speaking right now, we are combing through, literally in real time as we're speaking now, the indictment has been unsealed. Unprecedented because it's federal charges right here. And two of President Trump's attorneys have resigned as well. The judge that the former president appointed is the one overseeing this case. Some of the things we're sifting through as we speak. 50 pages, willful retention of information is some of the things we're seeing here that included U.S. military capabilities. First, I'll start with you, Charlie. It's unprecedented, as we said. The details will be what really matters when this indictment hits on Tuesday. What are you most curious about when you eventually have a chance to really comb through this?
Well, obviously, I haven't had a chance, nor has Mark, to even look at it, and we want to do that. But, I'm struck with the fact that Joe Biden still has his problems with documents. Donald Trump's were stored at Mar-a-Lago. Joe Biden's in the back of a trunk of a car or at an office out of state, et cetera. But what I'm curious to see is whether or not the federal indictment goes mostly to the quote-unquote cover-up, i.e. obstruction of justice, or to the heart of whether or not the former president, had the right to take these documents. Because history has shown us that if there is, in fact, a cover-up, that's much more serious. That's what happened in Watergate than the underlying incident.
Yeah, so Mark, I'm looking at this. It looks like conspiracy is in here, withholding of documents, false statements when it comes to that. There's where those pieces may come into play, that it's more than just having the documents, it's what you're doing with them and talking about them afterwards once it seems that the DOJ, or I guess the archives, knew that it was there. What are you looking for here?
This is an historic moment. This is the first time in our history that an ex-president has been indicted on federal crimes. And as we sift through the indictment, I think that we're going to find that these are very, very serious charges. And Charlie's right about something. Probably the most significant one is going to be the lengths to which he obstructed federal authorities to get the documents back. Remember that he's innocent until proven guilty, so I want to be careful here. But it looks like he took documents that didn't belong to him, he lied about them, and he hid them away from authorities. That is criminal intent, and that's what's going to get him in big trouble.
All right, guys, we have a lot more to look forward to on Tuesday when we see you next. That's the day that he will be indicted officially in Florida, and we'll have much more time to look through the documents then. But thanks for your initial reaction on that at this point. I'll be right back with one final word. Stick around.